you can enroll now just by using this QR code. By using this QR code, you can directly register RRB JE 2025. So mega mock test. So that too CBT-1. Okay, so it is common for all streams. That's why just by using this QR code, guys, you have to register to attempt this free mega mock test. Okay, it's completely free, so you should not pay any single penny for that. Right? Yes, it's completely online. Next, in English only. So these are the timings for that. So 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. So it concerns to CBT-1. CBT-1. Okay, right. So here it is the first question. Solid directly changing into gas is called. Solid directly changing into gas is called evaporation, condensation, sublimation, fusion. Yes. Anyone? What is the correct option here? So what is the correct option here? Struck. No? Okay, which one is considered as the correct option? When solid directly changing into gas, what is the name of that phenomena? Evaporation, condensation, sublimation, fusion. So here it is. The correct option is sublimation. Okay, option 3 is the right answer. So sublimation. Sublimation means solid. Solid directly converts to gas without formation of liquid. So this process is generally called as sublimation. What are the best examples of sublimation? So camphor, next naphthalene. Okay, naphthalene. When we heat this material, it directly turns to gas without formation of liquid. Next, dry ice. Dry ice. Dry ice means nothing but solid CO2. Solid CO2 is called as dry ice. Next one, camphor. Camphor. So next, ammonium chloride. Ammonium chloride. So this is also called as smelling salt. This is also considered as smelling salt. Smelling salt. Next, menthol. Menthol. Next, anthracene. Okay, anthracene. Next, iodine. Iodine. Okay, next, sodium benzoate. Sodium benzoate. Benzoate. Next, ammonium bromide, ammonium iodide. These are all treated as the best examples of sublimation. When we heat these materials, guys, it can be directly converted into gas without formation of liquid. Without formation of liquid. So naphthalene. Next, dry ice. So in your examination point of view, this is also very important. What is the chemical name of solid CO2? Dry ice. Okay, sorry. What is the chemical constituents of dry ice? Nothing but solid CO2. Next, which chemical is called as smelling salt? Nothing but ammonium chloride. Okay, ammonium chloride. Next, to collect fingerprints, especially in narcotic analysis or whatever it is, mostly we are using iodine vapors. Iodine vapors. Next, which is the most commonly used food preservator? So sodium benzoate. This is the most commonly used food preservator. Food preservator. Food preservator. Okay, so these are all very important. Of course, ammonium bromide, ammonium iodide also. Ammonium bromide and ammonium iodide. Okay, right. What is meant by evaporation? What about condensation? What about fusion? Here it is. Okay, here it is. So solid, liquid, next gas. When solid directly converts to, yes, here solid, when we heat the solid material, if you are getting the same physical state, so then what is the name of the phenomena? So there is no phenomena, right? Next, what about the conversion of solid into liquid? What we call? That is called as nothing but melting. Okay, so melting. Next, what about solid directly converts to gas? Sublimation, right? Sublimation. Okay, next, liquid converts to solid, what we call? Fusion. Fusion or freezing. Okay, so freezing. Next, what about liquid converts to, okay, liquid, when we heat the liquid, if you are getting the same physical state, then there is no such kind of phenomena. Next, when we heat the liquid, if you are getting gas, then what we call? Boiling. Boiling, evaporation, evaporation, vaporization, this type of terminology generally we use. Next, suppose when we cool a gaseous material, then gas can be converted into solid. This is called as deposition. Okay, so deposition. This deposition method is completely reverse of the phenomena of sublimation. Okay, sublimation means solid directly converts to gas. What about deposition? Gas can be directly converted into solid at very low temperatures. Very low temperature. Best example, snow, frost related derivatives. Next, gas converts to liquid. What we call? Condensation. Okay, so condensation. So if you are getting the same state, then there is no phenomena. So these are the related terminology which are using here. Okay. Next one. What is the primary cause of ozone layer depletion? Carbon dioxide, methane, chlorofluorocarbons. Next, sulfur dioxide. Yes, anyone? Anyone? What is the primary cause of ozone layer depletion? Very good, very good. Yes, option C, na? Option C, chlorofluorocarbons. Yes, someone raised about venue, nothing but center of the examination. So no worry about it. Within a small span of time, so they will announce the concerned venue centers, venues also. Okay, so the concerned examination centers also. Okay, right. So what is the primary cause of ozone layer depletion? So carbon dioxide. Actually, CO2 is not treated as a ozone depleting substance. Okay, ozone depleting substance. Methane. Methane. This is also not treated as ozone depleting substance. These two are treated as greenhouse gases. Okay, so greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases. Next, next one, chlorofluorocarbons. Yes. Option C is the right answer. Option C. Why? Because if you are using chlorofluorocarbons, from this we are getting chlorine free radicals. Chlorine free radicals. Each chlorine free radical can destroy 1 lakh ozone molecules. Just like this. O2 plus OCl dot. OCl dot. This is called as ozone depletion. Ozone depletion. So what kind of radicals are majorly generated from ODS or chlorofluorocarbons? Nothing but chlorine free radicals. So what is the advantage of chlorine free, what is the purpose of these chlorofluorocarbons, or what is the use of these chlorofluorocarbons? So these are used as some of the refrigerating agents. Refrigerating agents. Refrigerating agents. Okay, right. Next, sulfur dioxide. Sulfur dioxide. This is also not treated as a ozone depleting substance. Ozone depleting substance. That's why, guys, here the correct one is only option C. Only option C. Okay, so option C is the right answer. So here, which one is major responsible for, yeah, major responsible for greenhouse effect? Greenhouse effect. Which one is major responsible for greenhouse effect? Carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide. Okay, so smog, London smog. London smog. London smog is majorly caused by, so sulfur related gases, nothing but sulfur dioxide. Sulfur dioxide. Okay, so you have to remember the concerned options just like this. What about methane? Methane is also a greenhouse gas. Methane is also considered as a greenhouse gas. Next, what about this one? Which gas is the largest contributor to greenhouse effect? Methane, carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide, water vapor. Which gas is the largest contributor to the greenhouse effect? Yes, anyone? Yes, as of now, we didn't have the concerned information about venue. Okay, so examination centers. So based on that, you have to wait up to some extent, okay, by tomorrow evening or whatever it is, right? So as of now, we didn't have the proper information about it, official information about it. Yes, which gas is the largest contributor to the greenhouse effect? Here the correct one is option C only. Option C, sorry, option B, carbon dioxide. Actually, in this atmosphere, we have the bulk amount of carbon related gases. Carbon related gases. Okay. So, according to UNEP, according to the latest reports, okay, UNEP latest reports or carbon atlas, we can conclude just like this. Actually, in this atmosphere, the total accommodating value of carbon related gases is just 450 ppm. 450 ppm. Already worldwide countries produced carbon related gases amount would be approximately, so 425 ppm. 425 ppm. Okay, so means if you are not reducing the carbon related gases, then what will happen? Climate change will also be possible. No? Climate change, we will expect a climate change. Okay, so once climate change will happen, so there is no possibility to reverse the temperatures variations. Reverse the temperature variations. Okay, yes, so here the correct one is option B only. Next, pick up the wrong statement from the following. Option A, light year is the unit of time. Next, cream is separated from milk when it is churned. This is due to centrifugal force. Next, the density of water is maximum at 4-degree temperature. The velocity of sound on moon is 0. Yes. Which is the correct one? Which is considered as the correct option here? Hi Abhishek. Yes. Balu. Any postponement? Right. As of now, there is no official information about okay, about the postponement of examination, right? So you have to fix the previously mentioned dates. Okay, right. Which is the correct one? D, na? Okay. So D, the velocity of sound on moon is 0. Okay. So here the correct one is option A only. Okay, option A. So if you consider the velocity of sound on moon, mostly on moon guys there is no medium. No medium. It means completely vacuum here. So in vacuum the velocity of sound is completely zero. Okay, completely zero. That's why this statement is correct. So they raised about a wrong statement. So because of that we should not consider option D. Okay, right. So next one, option C. The density of water is maximum at 4 degree centigrade. Of course this is also correct. So if you consider water from 0 degree centigrade to 4 degree centigrade, generally here we are using high temperature from 0 to 4 degrees. Then what will happen at 0 degree centigrade, the water, concerned water molecules exhibit mostly solid state. What about 4 degree centigrade, liquid state? When solid turns to liquid, generally what kind of phenomena it exhibit? Contraction or attraction, contraction or expansion. Expansion, na? Okay, it should exhibit expansion. But instead of that, instead of expansion, here between 0 to 4 degree centigrade it exhibits contraction. Okay, so contraction. Because of that, at 4 degree centigrade guys, mostly water exhibit highest density. Okay, so contraction, because of that mostly density has been increased and volume has been decreased. Volume has been decreased. At 4 degree centigrade the density would be very high and volume would be very less. Okay, so that is the speciality of water, that too at 4 degree centigrade. This phenomena is considered as anomalous expansion of water. Because of this anomalous expansion of water, most of the aquatic animals are still surviving, especially at the region of Antarctica. Especially at the region of Antarctica. Okay, right. So that's why this option is also correct. Next one. So cream is separated from milk when it is churned. So this is due to centrifugal force. Of course you have an idea about churn. Okay, so this is the concerned instrument, okay, concerned machinery. When we found milk related derivatives, okay, so after using of this kind of derivatives guys, finally we are collecting the milk derivatives at the edges of this container. Okay, so from here you can observe the concerned forces to away from the center, Okay, so one kind of virtual force applied here, the two away from the center. Because of that, that would be considered as centrifugal force. Okay, because of centrifugal force, this phenomena can be happen. A cream is separated from the milk when it is churned. Okay, so of course this is also correct one. Next, what about the first option, light year? Actually, light year is used to indicate the distance. Okay, it is one of the largest unit, especially for distance. Okay, so which is considered as the largest unit of distance. So that is nothing but parsec. Okay, so parsec. 1 parsec is equal to 3.26 light years. 3.26 light years. What about light year? So light year means light can travel, okay, so just a span of 1 second it travel approximately 3 lakh kilometers. So that is nothing but 3 into 10 power 8 meter per second. Okay, so this is the velocity of light per second, 3 into 10 power 8. Next, what about per minute? This is per second, na? What about per minute? So per minute means how many seconds we have? 60. What about per hour? Per hour, how many minutes we have? 60. Next, what about per day? Per day we have 24 hours. What about per year? 365 days. So if you calculate this one, finally you can get light year. Okay, finally you can get light year value, na? So light year means light travel up to some extent, that too in the span of 1 year. So that would be treated as 1 light year. That would be treated as 1 light year. Okay, so finally here my conclusion is, so which is considered as the largest unit of distance? Mostly parsec. 1 parsec is equal to 3.26 light years. 1 light year is equal to, so 3 into 10 power 8 into, so 60 into 16, 24 and 365, something like that. Okay, so this is treated as light year. Okay, so this is generally used to indicate the distance of point of view now. Okay, next match the following. So list 1, list 2. So shrillness of sound. Next audible limit, amplitude. Next units of sound. Actually shrillness, nothing but pitch. Okay, so shrillness means it majorly depends upon the pitch. So shrillness is generally considered as frequency. Okay, so frequency. Shrillness is nothing but frequency. If you consider Indian musical notes, Sarigama Padanisa, Sapta Swaras. Okay, so what are those? Sa, Ri, Ga, Ma, Pa, Da, Ni, Sa. So first Sa, if you consider first Sa, its frequency would be 256 hertz. 256 hertz. What about the last Sa, the last musical note, Sa, high pitch Sa? Here its frequency value would be 512 hertz. 512 hertz. Okay, so this is low pitch Sa and this is considered as high pitch Sa. So how to get this low pitch Sa? So to get this one, we have to use at least 256 waves na. Okay, so one wave is considered like this, one crest and one trough. So one crest and one trough, if you treat it like this, this is nothing but cycle per second. Cycle per second. So this cycle per second simply treated as a hertz. Okay, hertz means cycle per second. So cycle per second is nothing but this one. Okay, so this one is nothing but one wave. So in one wave, what we have? One crest and one trough. What is the meaning of 256 hertz? 256 hertz means 256 waves or 256 cycles. Okay, per second. Here we have to pronounce at least 256 waves, only then you can get the low pitch Sa. Low pitch Sa. Because of that, here the pitch variation you can also clearly observe that. So generally we are pronouncing these sounds just like this. Sa, Ri, Ga, Ma, Pa, Da means from low pitch Sa to high pitch Sa, gradually we are increasing the frequency. Okay, so low pitch Sa to high pitch Sa, gradually we are increasing the frequency. So that is the major concept, especially which concerns to pitch or shrillness. Okay, so pitch or shrillness. If you consider male voice, male voice, what about their shrillness or what about their pitch? They are having low pitch. Their sound would be maintained mostly low pitch. Okay, low pitch. What about amplitude? High amplitude. High amplitude. Next, if you consider female voice, female voice, so their voice is having mostly, their voice or majorly maintained high pitch. Okay, high pitch. Next, what about amplitude? Somewhat less compared with male voice. It means when a female initiate conversation, right? So then per second the number of waves are numerous. Okay, so the maximum number of waves we are getting just a fraction of 1 second, especially from female voice. What about male? We are getting very less number of waves. Okay, very less number of waves. Next, what about amplitude? Amplitude means like this. So we are getting around 2 to 3 waves. These are not exact values. Okay, so male voice is having low pitch. Low pitch means per second number of waves are very less, just like this. Up to here 1 wave, up to here 2 waves, next 3 waves. Usually we are getting 3 waves. What about the maximum displacement from the mean position? This is called as amplitude. So whose voice is having highest amplitude? Male voice. Okay, so male voice is having highest amplitude. So what about the pitch? Very less. What about female voice? Female voice is having high pitch, but their amplitude would be somewhat less. Okay, amplitude. Here you can observe that amplitude is very less, but here the amplitude is very high. Amplitude is somewhat high. Okay, so that is the difference between these two things. Next, audible limit. What is the audible limit of mostly human beings? 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. Next, amplitude. Amplitude majorly depends on which factor? Amplitude. Yes, intensity. Amplitude, intensity I directly proportional to A square. Actually, intensity of sound majorly depends on amplitude. That is the concept here. Next, units of sound. What are the units of sound? Nothing but decibel. Nothing but decibel. So this type of questions are also previously raised in your examination point of view. Okay, previously raised in your examination point of view. That's why guys, here this is the correct one. Okay, so this is the correct matching now. Next, you should also remember this terminology: male voice, low pitch and high amplitude; female voice, high pitch and low amplitude. Next, eutrophication in water bodies is caused by excess of oxygen, nitrogen and phosphorus, carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide. Which is the correct one? Yes. Option A na? Option A. Option B. Yes, okay. Satish, option B. Sushma, option A. Abhishek, option B. Right. Abhishek, option B. Yes, so which is the correct option here? First of all, guys, what is meant by eutrophication? Okay. Actually, here the correct option is B only. Okay, so B only. Nitrogen and phosphorus. If you consider ponds, so runoff water. Okay, here water is completely staggered, right? So, okay, completely runoff orientation. Na? So then, because of some heavy rain, we are getting maximum amount of water from different locations, that too in the region of the concerned ponds. Finally, in this water, guys, we have excess amount of nutrients. Okay, excess amount of nutrients. Excess amount of nutrients. What kind of nutrients you can observe here? Either nitrogen or phosphorus. Okay, nitrogen and phosphorus. What are the essential elements for plants growth? NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. We have to use 4:2:1. Okay, so this is the concerned required proportions. Na? So 4:2:1. Okay, right. So in this water, what we have? Excess amount of nitrogen, the same time excess amount of phosphorus. Then automatically some amount of algae can be formed. Okay, so algae can be formed. So then what will happen, guys? Especially in this water sample, the maximum amount of oxygen resources are completely vanished because of this algae. Okay, because of this algae. Finally, BOD value decreases. Sorry, BOD value increases. Why? Because algae, most of the algae related derivatives are survived here. Na? If algae has been survived, then BOD value has been increased. What about the amount of oxygen? Decreases. So what we call hypoxia. This is called as hypoxia. Hypoxia. Okay, suppose if the BOD value is more than 17 ppm, then what we call, so this is called as, this one is called as water pollution. Water pollution. Water pollution. Okay, you should also remember almost all this terminology. Okay, almost all this terminology. Alright, so next, a current carrying conductor produces magnetic field only, electric field only, both electric and magnetic field, neither electric and magnetic field. Which is the correct one? A current carrying conductor produces which one? Anyone, guys? Option C, no? Option C. Okay, right. Here the correct one is option A only. Option A. So current carrying conductor. Suppose this is the direction of current. Then exactly in perpendicular direction of the flow of electrons, we can get magnetic field. Okay, so magnetic field. These two are always perpendicular to each other. Okay, so always perpendicular to each other. Because of that, here the correct option is option A only. Option A only. Okay, so magnetic field only. Next, what about this one? Which of the following statement is true about precipitation reaction? True about precipitation reaction. Only water is formed, only hydrogen gas is formed, only soluble solution is formed, an insoluble salt is formed. Which is the correct one? Yes. Precipitation reactions. Here only water is formed. Actually water is completely transparent. That's why we are not getting any precipitation. Next, only hydrogen gas is formed. Hydrogen gas is completely transparent. Okay, so because of that, here also not possibility to get mostly precipitation reactions. This is also wrong. Only soluble solution is formed. Soluble solutions means if you consider sodium chloride, when it is added in water, then what we get? A clear a transparent solution. We are getting a transparent solution, right? So then there is no possibility to get any PPT, precipitation, right? So precipitation means some of the solute derivatives, okay, some of the solute particles are not easily dissolved in the solvent. Only then it is treated as mostly precipitation reaction. What about the fourth one? An insoluble salt is formed. Of course, yes. Okay, so insoluble salt. For example, if you consider calcium carbonate, what we call calcium carbonate. Okay, nothing but CaCO3. This is also called as limestone or marble stone. Okay, so limestone or marble stone. Yes, so when we add this type of calcium carbonate derivatives into the water, so then it is not easy to dissolve completely in that sample, na? So especially at the beaker, okay, so especially the bottom of the beaker, guys, we are getting some amount of solute particles. Okay, so still we are getting some solute particles. Because of that, it is treated as a precipitation reaction. So around 1 year back, this type of questions were especially raised in RRB JE point of view. The question was looking like this. Okay. So which one of the following one is considered as a precipitation reaction? Option A, NaOH plus HCl. Second one, AgNO3, silver nitrate plus HBr. Third one, KOH plus HBr. Fourth one, NaCl plus water. Okay, they raised these four options and they mentioned about which one of the following reaction is treated as a precipitation reaction. Which one of the following one is considered as a precipitation reaction? Just 1 year back, the 2024 RRB JE examination, this question was raised. So which is the correct one, guys? Anyone? Which is the correct option here? Yes, how to solve these type of questions? Actually here the correct option is option B only. Option B only. How to solve these type of questions? First you have to remember one thing. When acid reacts with base, then what we get? Salt plus water. Salt plus water. Okay. Salt plus water. This is a neutralization reaction. Next, how to get a precipitation reaction? These are the conditions. When acid reacts with salt, then we get precipitation. Next, when acid reacts with, base reacts with a salt, in this condition also we are getting mostly precipitate. Okay, so next, when salt react with another salt, in this condition also we are getting the precipitation. Right, it depends upon, okay, so mostly these are the shortcuts to identify the precipitation reactions. So what about here? NaOH, is it salt or acid or base? Mostly it is a base. According to Arrhenius theory, it is a base because it has hydroxide ion. What about HCl? It is an acid. Okay, so base plus acid, what we get? Salt. So if you are getting salt, then there is no possibility to get the precipitate. Okay, next, silver nitrate. Actually silver nitrate is a salt. It does not having any OH minus ion or H plus ion. Okay, it is a group of AgNO3. How did we get AgNO3? By the addition of silver hydroxide, next HNO3. From these two chemicals, guys, we are getting mostly AgNO3. Here it loses OH minus, here it loses H plus ion. Then finally we can get mostly AgNO3 along with water. Actually this is a salt. How to get this salt? By using one base and this acid. Okay, so this acid. So here it is a salt. So for this salt, what we added? Mostly acid only. Okay, here we added acid only. So when salt reacts with acid, then what we get? Precipitation. Because of that, this is the correct option. What about the remaining options? KOH. Actually KOH is a base. Next, what about HBr? So this is an acid. So what about acid plus base? Then we can get mostly salt. It is a neutralization reaction, not a precipitation reaction. Next, NaCl in water. Then what we get? A transparent liquid. Na? So a completely soluble solution we get. So then there is no possibility to get the precipitate. Okay, so these type of questions are also previously raised in your examination point of view. Okay, so for that you have to need this kind of information. So this is also related, this question is also related to this concept. Okay, next one, on ordinary dry cell the electrolyte is sulfuric acid, magnesium oxide, next zinc, next ammonium chloride. Which is the correct option here? Yes, which is considered as the correct option here? Anyone? Anyone? Option C. Okay, option C. Satish, option C. Okay, right. So ordinary cell, nothing but dry cell. If you consider dry cell, guys, the electrolyte is mostly sulfuric acid. Option A is the correct option. Option A is the correct one here. Okay, option A, sulfuric acid. So here it is. This is a dry cell. Okay, so this is a dry cell, nothing but Nipo every day. This kind of batteries are there, na? So here, this foil is nothing but zinc. Okay, here one metallic foil is there, na? That is nothing but zinc. So here zinc is treated as mostly anode. Next, if you open this dry cell, then we are getting some kind of black color powder. But okay, so black powder. That black powder is nothing but manganese oxide. Okay, so black powder, manganese oxide. Next, white color paste. That white color paste is nothing but ammonium chloride. Ammonium chloride. Next, here one black rod is also be existed. Na? That is nothing but graphite. That is nothing but graphite. Here graphite is treated as mostly, right, graphite is nothing but mostly cathode. Cathode, okay. Right, sorry guys, here they raised about ordinary dry cell. Na? So in ordinary dry cell, what is the electrolyte? Sulfuric acid, manganese oxide, zinc, ammonium chloride. So if you consider Volta cell, okay, voltaic cell or Volta cell, this is the primary cell. In primary cell, what is the electrolyte? Mostly sulfuric acid. But they raised about dry cell. Okay, so in dry cell, which one is treated as mostly electrolyte? Here it is, ammonium chloride. Ammonium chloride. That's why here the correct option is option D only. Option D. Okay, so they mentioned about dry cell now. That's why ammonium chloride is the correct option. Suppose if they raised about voltaic cell or primary cell, then we should use only sulfuric acid. That is the difference between these two things. Next, what about this one? The thermometer suitable to measure 2000 degrees centigrade is vapor pressure thermometer, total radiation pyrometer, gas thermometer, mercuric thermometer. Yes. Option B, na? Option B, very good. Of course, option B is the correct one. So, okay, pyrometer or optical pyrometer. Optical pyrometer. These two thermometers are generally used to measure very high temperatures. Okay, very high temperatures. High temperatures. Okay, right. So here it is. So this is optical pyrometer. Okay, so this is clinical thermometer. Clinical thermometer. So these are also considered as the platinum related thermometers or whatever it is. So if you observe the liquid pressure thermometers, guys, so mostly the range is minus 30 degrees centigrade to 550 degrees centigrade. Okay, next, if you consider vapor pressure thermometer, its range would be mostly 100 degrees centigrade. 100 degrees centigrade. Okay, right. So what about mercury thermometer? Mercury thermometer, this is the range. So minus 30 degrees centigrade to 300 degrees centigrade. Gas thermometer minus 268 degrees centigrade to 1500 degrees centigrade. So platinum resistance thermometer, so minus 200 to 1200 degrees centigrade. Thermocouple thermometer, this is the range, minus 200 degrees centigrade to 1600 degrees centigrade. Radiation thermometer, 800 degrees centigrade to mostly no limit. Okay, so actually these pyrometer, optical pyrometers are considered under this category. Okay, so it can be used to find out very high temperatures. Because of that, option B is the correct one here. Option B. Okay, what about this one? Dalton, Newton, Faraday, Einstein. Okay, right. So Dalton theory. So Dalton. The first atomic theory was introduced by mostly Dalton. Next, what about Newton? Law of motions. First law of motion, second law, third law. Next, Faraday's laws. Faraday's laws are related to law of electromagnetic induction. Next, what about Einstein? Relative theory. E is equal to mc square. Is equal to mc square. Okay, so this is the matching of the given options, right? So Newton's first law, especially in first law, what did they mention? Inertia. Okay, inertia. Rest of inertia, motion of inertia, direction of inertia. Next, second law. Second law. Mostly in this second law, you can get about F is equal to ma. Okay, nothing but momentum. Next, what about third law? Third law. For every action, there is equal and opposite reaction. So that can be especially highlighted from this Newton's third law. Newton's third law. Okay. Next, Faraday's laws are also related to something related to mostly depositing of. If you consider, let's consider a beaker. In that, if you dip one anode and cathode, so if you supply some amount of electrical energy in that, then finally the deposited amount of the concerned chemical at the anode or at the cathode depends upon the flow of electricity. Flow of electricity. So that is considered as one of the concept which concerns to mostly Faraday's laws. Faraday's laws. Of course, law of electromagnetic induction was also initiated by Faraday's. Okay, so law of electromagnetic induction. Next, what are the metal oxides that react with acids as well as bases? Which is the correct option here? Acidic oxide, neutral oxide, amphoteric oxide. Next, alkaline oxide. What are the metal oxides that react with acids as well as bases? Anyone? Yes, anyone? Bina? Neutral oxide. Okay, right. Here they raised about the metal oxides that are react with both acids, the same time bases. Then it is treated as amphoteric oxide. Amphoteric oxide. What is the specialty of amphoteric oxide? It can react. For example, aluminum oxide is there now. It can react with a base NaOH. Next, it can also react with an acid HCl, H2SO4, HNO3. Okay, so it can react both acid and bases. Then this type of chemical derivatives are treated as amphoteric oxides. Amphoteric oxide. So what are the amphoteric oxides especially existed in the periodic table? What kind of elements oxides are treated as amphoteric oxide? Here this is the shortcut for that. Okay, so here it is the shortcut. Mostly zinc related oxide, zinc oxide. Next, beryllium. Okay, so beryllium oxide, this is also amphoteric. Beryllium oxide is also treated as amphoteric. Next, aluminum oxide, gallium oxide, indium oxide, thallium oxide, germanium oxide, tin oxide, lead oxide, arsenic oxide, antimony oxide, bismuth oxide. Mostly guys, in your examination point of view, there is a possibility to rise about zinc oxide or beryllium oxide or tin oxide, lead oxide. These are the most commonly highlighted options, especially in your examination point of view. Not only that, aluminum oxide also, Al2O3. These are all treated as the best examples of amphoteric oxide. Amphoteric oxide. Okay, you should remember that. Okay, right. So next one. Which one of the given statements about non-metals is true? Electropositive, loss electrons, electronegative, gain electrons, electropositive, gain electrons, electronegative, so mostly loss electrons. Yes. Which is the correct one here? Which is the correct option here? Anyone? Non-metals. Non-metals. Electronegative, electropositive. Option C na? Very good. Option C. Option C. Electropositive gain electrons. Okay, right. But here the answer is electronegative loss. Electronegative and gain electrons. Option 2. Option 2 is the correct one. Okay. So in periodic table we have 118 elements. Based on its nature, it can be classified into 3 types. One is metal. One is metal. Metal means it loses electrons easily. Okay, it loses electrons easily. Let's consider one example, sodium. So it has 11 electrons. When it loses one, it has 11 electrons. When it loses 1 electron, guys, then we get Na plus and 1 electron. So totally 10 electrons are existed in this ion. So because of that, metal always possessed positive charge. Positive charge indicates loss of electrons. Positive charge indicates loss of electrons. Suppose if you consider iron, generally we observed either +2 or +3 charge. Fe +2 or Fe +3 charge. Okay, right. So in periodic table we have 95 metals. Especially in periodic table, guys, the best metals are always existed at the left side. At the left side. What about non-metals? So in periodic table we have 17 non-metals. Non-metals. Non-metal means it easily gains the electrons. It easily gains the electrons. Okay, let's consider one example, oxygen. So here it has 8 electrons. When it receives 2 electrons, then it can be converted to like this, O minus 2. So the number of total electrons are 10 only. Okay, so this is a non-metal. Oxygen is a non-metal. Of course, what kind of charge majorly exhibited here? -1, minus. Okay, so because of that, non-metals are always possessed a negative charge. Mostly metals are always possessed positive charge. It loses electrons, it gains electrons. So that is the difference between these two things. Okay, so because of that, here we have to consider electronegative. Next, gain electrons. Right, so hydrogen, next nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine, bromine, iodine. Okay, next carbon, oxygen. Okay, so carbon, oxygen. These are all next to fluorine. These are all treated as some of the examples of mostly non-metals. Some of the examples of non-metals. Okay, here it is. So this is the periodic table, right? First group. These first group elements are called as alkali metals. Alkali metals. These are the best metals in the periodic table. Okay, best metals in the periodic table. Right. So this is the best metal. In these 118 elements, which is the best metal, guys? For cesium. Next, these are called as alkaline earth metals. Alkaline earth metals. Alkaline earth metals. Okay, alkaline earth metals. Next, so these are D black elements. These are D black, and these two groups are considered as S black. Next, these are treated as P black. Okay, so P black. So this is boron family. This is carbon family. So this is nitrogen family. So these 16th group elements are called as chalcogens. Chalcogens. Next, 17th group elements are called as halogens. Okay, halogens. Next, these are 18th group elements. These 18th group elements are called as mostly noble gases. Noble gases or aerogens. Aerogens. Okay. next inert gases, different types of terminology we have. Okay, so this is some of the information which concerns to periodic table na. So in periodic table there is no gap, all the elements are existed. Okay, all the elements are existed. Next, which metal can liberate hydrogen gas from dilute hydrochloric acid? Copper, mercury, silver, lead. Yes, anyone? Which metal can liberate hydrogen gas from dilute hydrochloric acid? From dilute hydrochloric acid. Copper, mercury. It's not that much easy, guys. But if you follow the class notes, I already mentioned in that. So based on those kind of shortcuts, you can easily get the answer, right? Option 4. Option 4. Very good. Option 4 is the right option. Okay, option 4 is the correct one here. So how to solve these type of questions? Actually, for that we have to need standard potential values. Standard potential values. By using this table, we can easily get that one. Okay, no need to by heart this table. You just observe. These are SRP values. SRP, standard reduction potential values. Standard reduction potential values. Just by using these standard reduction potential values, guys, you can easily solve these type of questions. Na? So above this hydrogen, almost all these metals, SRP values are completely negative. What does it indicate? What does it indicate? Yes. If the element SRP value is completely negative, then it is highly reactive. Highly reactive. Next, for these elements, if you add any acid, then we are getting hydrogen. We are getting mostly hydrogen. What about below hydrogen? Below hydrogen, what we have? Mostly copper, mercury, next silver, next platinum, next gold. Okay, so copper, silver, mercury, gold, platinum. Especially for these 5 metals. Okay, here the values are completely positive. Suppose if the concerned ion is having SRP value is completely positive, then what does it indicate? Those are very less reactive. Less reactive. So when we add an acid for these elements, we are not getting any hydrogen. We are not getting any hydrogen. Here it is. Based on hydrogen, guys, we can conclude like this. So below hydrogen, what we have? Copper, next silver, next gold. Okay, so sorry, mercury, next gold, next platinum. So for these 5 elements, reactivity would be very less. Next, SRP values are completely positive. So because of that, if you add any acid, mostly we are not getting hydrogen. So what about iron? Actually, iron is not mentioned here. Okay, except these 5 metals. If you add acid for the remaining metals, then definitely we are getting the concerned hydrogen gas. So iron, nickel, cobalt. Okay, so next lead. So whatever it is. So for the so any kind of metal except for these 5 elements, 5 metals, we are getting hydrogen gas directly. Next in examination point of view, there is a possibility to get these type of questions. Okay, so what are those? copper plus XSO4, okay, gives CuSO4 plus X. Okay, wait a minute. Here copper sulfate is there, next X. So here we are getting XSO4, next copper. So who one replace this copper? Okay, who one replace this copper element? Option A, mercury. Option B, silver. Option C, iron. Option D, gold. This type of questions are also previously raised in RRB JE examination. Okay, how to solve these type of questions, guys? First, you have to remember one thing. Okay, we have to replace this copper. Which one is more reactive than copper? Above hydrogen elements, na? So what kind of elements are existed above the hydrogen? Mostly iron, nickel, cobalt, lead, whatever it is. What kind of elements are existed below hydrogen? Okay, so like this. So Rm. So this is not possible because its SRP values are completely positive. So due to that, it is very less reactive. Silver, this is also not possible. Mercury, this is also not possible because these three are very less reactive. Na? So here the correct option is option C only. So you should remember this concept. Okay, so hydrogen, SRP, standard reduction potential values. Based on that, you can get at least one question in your RRB JE examination. Okay, this coming RRB JE examination, that much of important it is. Okay, so which element is having which is highly reactive, or which element is having highest SRP value? Lithium. Okay, lithium is having highest SRP value. So these negative charged ions are generally treated as strong reducing agents. Strong reducing agents. Strong reducing agents. These positive charged SRP values maintained ions are treated as strong oxidizing agents. Strong oxidizing agents. Strong oxidizing agent. Okay, so you have to remember the concerned concept. So finally, here the option is 4. Next, color changed when iron nail or dipped in copper sulfate solution. Brown, yellow, blue, red. What is the correct option here? So copper sulfate, iron nail means Fe. Just now we discussed it, right? Okay. So finally what we get? FeSO4 plus copper. FeSO4 plus copper. So generally what kind of color we get here? Brown, next yellow, blue, red. Iron sulfate, it is completely in brown color. So copper sulfate, it is mostly exhibit blue color. When iron reacts with copper sulfate, finally its color is also be changed. Its color can also be changed, na? Just like this, brown color. Because of that, here the correct option is 1 only. Okay, 1 only. This is a displacement reaction. This is a displacement, single displacement reaction. How many elements are displaced here? Only 1. That's why it is a single displacement reaction. Next, dash have similar chemical properties but different atomic masses. Isomers, isotopes, actinides, isobars. Dash have Similar chemical properties but different atomic masses. Isomers, isotopes, actinides, isobars. Isomer. Isomer means C2H5OH. This is ethyl alcohol. CH3OCH3. For these two examples, this is ether. What is the molecular formula? How many carbons are existed here? 2. How many hydrogens? 5 plus 1, 6. How many oxygens? 1. What about here? 2 carbons, 6 hydrogens, next 1 oxygen. Molecular formula is same, but structure would be somewhat different. So then it is called as isomers. Okay, what about chemical properties and atomic masses? Actually, for these two elements, atomic masses are completely same, but what did they mention? Different. That's why option 1 is not suitable here. Isotopes. Isotopes. H11, H12, H13. Here, atomic masses are different, atomic number is same. This is called as isotopes. Okay, so these isotopes are having same chemical properties but different atomic masses. Because of that, option 2 is the correct one. Next, actinides. Of course, actinides are nothing but thorium, protactinium, uranium, neptunium, plutonium. Those atomic number is different, masses are also different. So, because of that, that is also not treated. Isobars. Isobars means like this. So, carbon, nitrogen. Okay, so 6, here it is 7. Same atomic mass but different atomic numbers. Okay, so but they raised about different atomic masses. But here, if you consider isobars, guys, atomic masses are same. So finally, here the correct one is option 2 only, isotopes only. Among the given was, which one has the highest iron content? Limonite, hematite, pyrite, next siderite. Okay, so siderite. Yes, isotopes, correct one. Of course, you're right. What about this one? Among the given was, which has the highest iron content? Option 2, na? Very good. Hematite, hematite, very good. Hematite. So, hematite, if you consider hematite, guys, the formula is like this, Fe2O3, Fe2O3. Approximately, exactly it has the 69.9%. Okay, so hematite, ferric oxide. So this is magnetite, magnetite. Magnetite is having 72.4%. So Fe3O4, Fe3O4. Next, what about limonite, pyrite and siderite? Like this. So this is hematite, approximately 70%. So magnetite, 72.4% exact value. Limonite, this is the formula. Okay, so this is the formula. So 40 to 60% iron derivatives are exist in that. Siderite, FeCO3, 48%. So pyrite, so mostly 46%. 46%. So here the correct one is option option 2 only, hematite. Next, the nuclear forces. The nuclear force is always repulsive, always attractive, a long range force, a weakest force. A nuclear force is always repulsive, always attractive, a long range force, a weakest force. Option B, na? Very good. Of course, right. Nuclear forces are always attractive. Always attractive. This is also most important. So, in this universe, we have some of the primary forces, na? Primary forces. What are those? Nuclear forces. These are the strongest forces in the universe. Strongest forces. strongest forces in the universe, okay. Next, electrostatic forces, electrostatic forces. Next, gravitational forces, gravitational forces. These are the weakest forces in the universe, okay. Right. Effect of temperature on solubility of gases in liquids: increases, decreases, same. First increases, then decreases. First increases, then decreases. Yes, effect of temperature. Suppose if you consider carbon dioxide, so when it is added with water, then what we get? H2CO3, carbonic acid. Okay, so carbonic acid, this is nothing but soda water. So in this soda water, guys, mostly carbon related derivatives, carbon dioxide related derivatives are existed. Na? Suppose if you boil this if you boil this carbonic acid, then it can easily turn into concerned chemical derivatives like CO2 and H2O. It means when we rise the temperature, the solubility has been completely decreased. Okay, the solubility has been completely decreased. Because of that, here the correct option is option 2 only, decreases. Next, the velocity of sound in air does not depends on temperature, pressure, velocity of air, humidity. Here the correct one is pressure only. So it does not depends upon the pressure. What about temperature? So velocity of sound directly proportional to temperature, just like this, root of temperature. If temperature increases, velocity of sound is also increases. What about velocity of air? Yes, velocity of air. Suppose velocity of sound is also directly proportional to velocity of air. Velocity of air. Next, humidity. So velocity of sound directly proportional to humidity. Okay, so humidity increases, then velocity of sound is also increases. Next, doctor advised a 2 diopter lens for a person for good vision. What is its focal length in centimeters? Okay, so 2 diopters. Power of lens is equal to 2 diopters. So what are the units of power of lens? Diopters. Generally indicates with D. Okay, so 2D. So power of lens formula 1 by focal length, na? Focal length. Power of lens is equal to 1 by focal length, that too in meters. Here what did they mention? They raised on the given value is completely concerns to this one, na? Power of lens, na? So 2 diopters is equal to 1 by focal length, that too in meters. What did they raised? They raised about focal length, that too in centimeters. Here f that too in meters is equal to 1 by 2. Okay, so here the value is 2 only. So finally what we get? 0.5. Okay, so 0.5. So here the given value, okay, so here we are getting 0.5, that too in meters, na? So if you convert meters into centimeters, finally the correct option is B only. Okay, so correct option is B only. 0.5 into 100, so what we get? 50 centimeters. So here it is the correct option, option B. Yes, here you should also remember that. So 2 diopters means it is completely positive. So completely positive means the person is facing which kind of defect of vision, myopia or hypermetropia. Here it is. This is the normal vision. This is the myopia. Myopia means near objects are visible. Near objects are visible. What about far objects? Far objects are not visible. Far objects are not visible. Okay. So then the reason is here it is the retina. Okay. So first the image should be focused on retina. Instead of that, especially in myopia patient, here okay, the object image is focused in front of the retina. Okay, then the focal length has been decreased. Focal length has been decreased for this myopia. If you are facing myopia, guys, focal length has been decreased. Then how to rectify that? To rectify this myopia, you have to increase the focal length. Okay, so for that we should use concave lens. Concave lens. If you are using concave lens, its value would be completely negative. Okay, it means minus 1D, minus 2D, minus 3D, something like that. If it is minus, then if your power lens is power of your lens is completely minus, then you are facing mostly myopia. Okay, so what kind of lens are generally used in that? So concave lens. Okay, next, what about hypermetropia? Near objects are not visible, far objects are visible. Okay, near objects are not visible, far objects are visible. So the reason is the focal length. Actually, the image should be focused here, but instead of that, image has been focused beyond the retina, right? So because of that, guys, focal length has been increased. To reduce the focal length, we should use convex lens. Convex lens. Which is the best example of convex lens? Our eyeball. Okay, camera lens. These are all treated as the best example of convex lens. You should remember, if you are facing myopia, focal length has been decreased. If you are facing hypermetropia, focal length has been increased. What about astigmatism? So if you consider the object, if any person is facing astigmatism, the object is looking like this, vertical and horizontal lines. To overcome this to rectify this astigmatism, guys, they have to use cylindrical lens. Okay, so cylindrical lens. Okay, yes. So this is the concept about that. On an average, a human heart is found to be beat 75 times per minute. The beaten frequency of the heart is 1.2 hertz, 3.25 hertz, 4.25 hertz, 2.25 hertz. Okay, per minute, how many rhythms are exhibited by heart? How many rhythms? On an average, a human heart is found to be beat 75 times. Generally 72, but they already mentioned 75. 75 per minute. Okay. So the beaten frequency of the heart is 75 per minute. Per minute means how many seconds? 60 seconds. 75 by 60, generally what we get? 1.25 hertz. Okay, so these are number of rhythms. Next, number of rhythms just per minute. So per minute we have 60 seconds. By using this terminology, you can get 1.25 hertz. Okay, so 1.25 hertz. Here the correct one is option A only. Option A only. Next, the tides in the ocean are due to. wind over the ocean, gravitational pull of the moon, rotation of the earth, revolution of the earth. Yes, the tides in the ocean are due to anyone. Yes, option 4, Mahesh, very good. Option 4, revolution of earth. Okay. Anyone? Anyone else? Okay. So that tides in the ocean are due to majorly gravitational pull of the moon. Gravitational pull of the moon. Okay. Actually, Earth is looking like completely spherical. When it revolves around its own axis, it's looking like this, somewhat elliptical. Okay, somewhat elliptical. So this is the moon. So this region is somewhat near to the moon. Because of that, here we are getting high tides. Okay, high tides. Here we are getting low tides. Low tides. So the tides are the tides, especially in the water bodies, we are getting only because of moon's gravity. Up to some extent, sun gravity is also be considered, but here the major thing is moon's gravity. Moon's gravity. So because of that, guys, here the correct option is option B only. Moon's gravity. High tides, low tides, like that. Okay, so this is the total conclusion about today's class. Here one important announcement. So on 16th February 2026, we are planning to conduct RRB JE mega mock test, that to completely free. You have, okay, so completely free. It related to CBT-1. So it is common for all streams. That's why, guys, you have to register to attempt this exam just by using this QR code. If you scan this QR code, guys, directly you can get the concerned web page. If you mention the primary details, based on that, you have the you can get the credentials to attempt this examination. Okay, so it is completely online based exam. So that to English. So this is the concerned timing for that, 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Okay, so based on final examination orientation, guys, this exam will be conducted. Because of that, you have to better to register here just by using this QR code, right? So if you have any doubts about this examination, of course it is completely free of cost. Should not pay at least a single penny for that. Okay, so completely free of test it is. Because of that, you have to register. Okay, so if you have any queries about this examination or today's explanation, feel free to raise it. Okay, we'll resolve the issues based on the priority. Okay, so I wish you all the best. Thank you. Have a nice day.